Today is 27 July 2023. Here is today's brief The Hindu analysis. The first article was in the newspaper about no trust motion against Modi government. As yesterday, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla admitted a no confidence motion against Modi government, and this motion was moved by Congress deputy leader in the House Gaurav Gogoi in the bid to Prime Minister to speak in the Parliament on the Manipur conflict. There is no direct mention about no confidence motion in our Indian Constitution. Article 75 of our Constitution indirectly embodies this rule by specifying that Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. No confidence motion is laid down under the Rule 198 of the Rules of the Procedure and Conduct of the Lok Sabha. And this no confidence motion doesn't require specific grounds to be mentioned in the motion, and even if it mentioned, these grounds do not form the part of the motion. And the next important point is no confidence motion can only be moved in the Lok Sabha, not in the Rajya Sabha. This is required. Any member of the Lok Sabha can move a no confidence motion by providing a written notice before 10 am. And for the motion to be accepted, a minimum 50 members support is required, and once accepted, the speaker announces the date for the motion's discussion within 10 days. And voting can be conducted through the voice vote, division vote, or secret ballot vote. And what is the decision process? It is majority decision. Following the vote, the side with majority determines the motion's outcome. And in case of tie, the speaker enjoy the casting vote. What is the outcome of no confidence motion? If the government fails to prove its majority in the House, it is obligated to resign from the power. So how many times no confidence motion have been moved in the past? It was during the third Lok Sabha in 1963 that the first motion of no confidence was moved by the Acharya J.B. Kripalini against the government headed by Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. So who is the first Prime Minister who faced the no confidence motion? The answer is Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. And who first time moved the no confidence motion? The answer is Acharya J.B. Kripalini in 1963. And since then there have been total 26 more no confidence motion moved in the Parliament. And last one was in 2018 moved by TRS against the previous Narendra Modi government. The next article is about sitting FATF Center urges Supreme Court to let Mishra continue as a ED chief. What is FATF? Financial Action Task Force. The Financial Action Task Force is an international watchdog for financial crimes such as money laundering and terror financing. When it was established at G7 Summit 1989 in Paris. And the FATF currently has 39 members. India is also a member of FATF. And the decision-making body of FATF, which is known as plenary, meets thrice every year. And at the end of every plenary meeting, FATF comes out with two lists of the country. First is grey and the second one is black list. If a country is enlisted under grey list, then that the grey countries are designated as jurisdiction under the increased monitoring and working with FATF to counter the criminal financial activities. Right now there are 23 countries under the grey list. And the country comes under black list, it means the country designated as a high risk jurisdiction subjects to call for action. Right now North Korea and Iran are on the blacklist. Yesterday our Lok Sabha passes a very important amendment bill, that is Forest Conservation Amendment Bill, which was introduced to amend the Forest Conservation Act 1980. The key changes to the act: the inserting a preamble that underlines India's commitment to preserving forests and their biodiversity, taking challenges from the climate change, and this act is also amending the name of the act to Van Sanrakshan Evam Sambardhan Adhiniyam, translated as a Forest Conservation and Augmentation from the earlier name Forest Conservation Act. And this act would only apply to lands notified in government record as forest on or after 1980. And there are some exemption. It notified forest land was legally diverted between 1980 and 1996 for the non-forest use will be exempted from the act. And the next exemption would apply to the forest land situated 100 km away from the international border and to be used for strategic project of the national importance. And this exemption also will be applied to land ranging from 5 to 10 hectares for the security and defense project. But these changes are facing some objections. The objections are the exemption provision could be very detrimental to significant forest in the Himalayan, Trans-Himalayan and the northeastern region. Some are saying that this act watered down the Godavarman judgment, what was there in the Godavarman judgment. In the Supreme Court 1996 judgment in the Godavarman case that extended protection to the wide tracts of the forest even if they are not recorded as a forest. And the other objection, the amendments tilted the balance toward the center. Forest conservation is in the concurrent list, which means it comes under domain of the both center and state. And the next objections is about restricting the legislation ambits only to areas recorded as the forest on or after 1980 would means leaving out the significant section of the forest land and many biodiversity hotspot. And they are also objecting the renaming of the bill on the ground that it was Sanskritic terminology and untenable, which is not inclusive for the South Indian states and the states from Northeast. And here is the next article, parliamentary privileges breached. The Congress president and the leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, on Wednesday said that he was insulted when his microphone was turned off while he was speaking during the session on the Tuesday. He called it as a breach of his parliamentary privileges. What is parliamentary privileges? Parliamentary privileges are special rights, immunities and exemption enjoyed by two houses of the parliament and their committees and their member. So these privileges are defined, focus the word defined in Article 105 of the Indian Constitution. So the parliamentary privileges is defined in the Constitution itself. So under these privileges, the members of the parliament are exempted from any civil liability but not criminal liability for any statement made or act done in the course of their duties. And the privileges are claimed only when the person is member of the house. As soon as he or she ends to be the member, the privileges are said to be called off. And Article 105 of the Constitution expressly mention two privileges, that is freedom of speech in the parliament and right to publication of its proceeding. The other source of these privileges is the Code of Civil Procedure 1908. It provides for freedom from arrest and detention of the members under civil process during the continuance of meeting of the House or of a committee thereof, and 40 days before its commencement and 40 days after its conclusion. Next article, West Bengal government announced a mangrove sale. West Bengal state government announces a mangrove sale. West Bengal, which is home to about 40% of the mangrove forest in India, and announces the setting up of a mangrove sale in the state on the occasion of International Day for Conservation of Mangrove Ecosystem on Wednesday. When is the International Day of Conservation of Mangrove Ecosystem? 26th July. and the sale will generate funds from private and international sectors also. And this sale has an action plan for plantation of the mangrove, and it will also look at maintenance and coordinates with the NGOs. In the next article, UNESCO endorses banning smartphone in the schools. UNESCO has warned against an uncritical rush towards the embrace of the digital products in the education setting, noting that there is a little robust evidence on the digital technology added the value in the education. It also showed that the higher screen time was associated with the poor well-being, less curiosity, self-control, and emotional stability, higher anxiety and depression. The UN body's Global Education and Monitoring Report 2023 titled Technology in the Education, a tool on whose terms, has endorsed the banning smartphones in the schools in a situation where technology integration does not improve learning or if worsen students' well-being. It is highlighted that mere proximity to mobile devices was found to distract students and to have negative impact on the learning in 14 countries. So it is urging government to putting learner first. When it comes to decision on the use of digital technology, the report urged policymakers to ensure child data protection law and accountability mechanism tailored to the children. The next article is about SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. As we know, India is the hosting country for 23rd meeting of the Council of Heads of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. In this 2023 summit, SCO granted Iran full SCO membership and also signed the Memorandum of Obligation of Belarus to join the SCO as a member state and adopted a SCO's economic development strategy for period until 2030. This is all for today, and let's meet tomorrow.